insurance premium that we picked up? Is that included in the health insurance, in that new, in the health insurance?
In the health insurance for employees? Oh, thank you. No, that's covered in mills. So it won't come out of, out of PILT, that'll be our health insurance mills.
So then how much are you, did you just
And we
vote
had
on
that
for
last
your,
year already.
how much are you contemplating right now for the hospital?
About
district?
$100,000. And when we're ready for the motion, what I'll do is just say actual amount, so that we have the bids and the documentation.
So in my budget last year, there was $100,000 out of PILT for the Barris litigation fund. Correct?
I don't know that that came out of PILT. Yes,
did.
there was a fund set up.
It came out of PILT. So wherever it came out of, your vote that you did 20 minutes ago, are you reappropriating another 100,000 into that fund?
I wouldn't say another, no. I think 100,000 is what that should stay at. I don't think we should be adding another 100 to it.
But the vote you
And I don't
did,
think we can,
the vote you did was last year's budget.
to freeze it. Mhm,
Well, so that was last year's budget.
mhm.
That's, my last year's budget appropriated $100,000 into that fund.
I'm not gonna make a motion or vote on a motion for another 100,000.
You already
We're
did.
gonna, no, we're gonna have to see, if you need more money, you'll have to work with us on that. And that would be the same for any other fund that's set up like that. That is separate of your county attorney budget. So that would be addressed differently.
But your budget, your vote you just did a little while ago was everyone's appropriations from last year, everyone's budget, and that was my budget from last year. My point isn't that I want another 100,000. My point is, you're gonna run into these issues with every department, and this is why I asked you to work with each of us to go through details of where you don't need to reappropriate certain funds from last year that you probably did.
It actually is something, it's actually quite simple when we go through the
Yeah.
budget. Yeah, it's not something that's gonna put the skids on this process. Debbie has her process, it's just like the health insurance. It doesn't come out of this, it doesn't come out of this, it comes out of this. That's how the whole thing works, and Debbie Harold Waddy has said it no less than 5 times she's gone, but trust Debbie, she knows what she's doing. So we have that from, the top of the heap when it comes to this. But with PILT, I would move that we fund actual amounts to get that portion of the roof fixed and the HVAC air conditioning system, as we discussed.
Is there a second?
I was thinking, well, we gotta have the actual bids first.
That's my motion, is to fund actual accounts, or actual amounts, not an arbitrary up to.
And that would be strictly for these 2 repairs. That should have been done a long time ago. That's what burns me and everybody around. Stuff that should have been done wasn't. If I let my stuff go to hell like you guys have, I'd have been out of business a long time ago.
Is that a second? Kyle?
But just to correct your thought on that, we were scraping from every dollar we could, and we did get as much of that roof completed as we could with the money that we had at the time. And I'm not sure, but it was about 37,000, Jenny, I don't know exactly, that we spent on trying to correct the worst part of the roof that we inherited. So,
But you've got
And we-
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
no, we haven't. We've scraped by every way we can and maintained it as well as we could. We do appreciate this acknowledgement that we need to get this done. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Motion's been made. Did you second, Franklin?
After we get all the information on this, the bids, we want exactly what it's gonna be, and I'll go along with that part.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded.
But no money's allotted.
Allocate PILT money for the hospital for the exact cost of roof repairs in the area and also the 50-ton AC heating unit. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And I think it's important to reiterate that that is a county building, it is our responsibility as a community. There's one more request I would like of the budget. We had talked about increasing an employee who's at 28 hours to 32. And that employee used to do, commission filing. She takes minutes for the planning board, she takes minutes for Board of Health, and then splits her other hours between district court and the county sanitarian. I would like to move that, I would like to raise her to 32 hours. But I think we need to take those extra hours, and what I would like to propose is that the hours for commission filing be restored to us. We have 6 inches of paperwork that needs to be filed. But I would also like to charge her with driving the county and documenting which homes are being started, which homes are at what stage of construction, which homes that are constructed are now lived in. And I think we need to follow the lead of Lake County and actually have somebody tracking our construction. Lake County had an employee, they hired a new employee to do exactly what I'm describing, and they found in 1 year over $300,000 in tax revenue that Department of Revenue had missed. So, like I say, we're not alone, we have some models we can follow, but I think at the very least if we just had a kind of a monthly tracking, especially this winter as we get close to January 1st is what the drop dead date is for DOR, that we have somebody who has eyes on what's going on for us. She can document, we can provide that, and hopefully avoid this kind of a situation next year. So,
Linda?
Isn't that what we have a building contractor when we pay our dues for it, it come around and does that? I'm just curious about that, 'cause that's what I thought, the building, when we go and pay our, what due, when we get a permit.
That's
that-
city,
Oh, okay,
the county's not, doesn't have that.
okay, that's right, just need to clarify, thank you.
Tim?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question. With the budget freeze on last year's budget, and we're talking now about some new developments in this fiscal year, looking at the new hire of the Public Works Director, as well as the extension of the employee that's kind of been in dispute of what they're supposed to be doing. Is your earlier decision to freeze the budget, does that contradict your proposal now to continue spending more money that was not on last year's budget to fill these facilities, or these positions, excuse me?
no, absolutely not. So I'm glad you brought up the Public Works question. I know that's been one of those issues out there that is vastly misunderstood. Public Works doesn't hit any of the money for public safety, it doesn't hit any of the money for the general fund, it doesn't hit any of the money for those floating mills departments we've been talking about. Public safety is funded by the road department, road and bridge, which is totally standalone. We cannot share their money, it is for road alone. Public Works is also shared with mosquito and weed, same thing, those are targeted mills just for mosquito and weed, and they may not be used for anything else. Public Works is also the supervisor for solid waste. Solid waste is an enterprise fund. They do not use mills, so this doesn't affect them at all. That's the 78 unassessed businesses we were talking about. Public Works is those departments. It doesn't affect public safety, it doesn't affect the general fund, it doesn't affect the rest of the county at all. And I think that you will find as soon as we get that position acclimated, that it actually will be a money saver for those departments. So thank you for that. As far as the extra hours, it'll cost us a little over $3,000, and I would move that we take that from PILT for the time being as well.
I think it goes against the grain. We just voted on this freeze, and all of a sudden you're coming around with this, what's gonna be next? Another one, another one, another.
Franklin, this is going to be revenue positive for us. If we can have somebody documenting construction in this county that can give that to Department of Revenue and say, these are the places you need to be looking. When Department of Revenue comes back and says that Broadwater County lost 30 homes in Wheatland, we can say you were wrong, and here's the documentation proving it. The only thing that's gonna get a revaluation is our documentation, and right now, we don't have that. Lake County had a realization of $300,000. I believe we could be actually looking at a big amount, probably not that much. But,
We've got the septic permits that Julie was on, that's probably one of the biggest one. And
We
electrical
email
permits.
those permits, list of permits to Department of Revenue the first of every month. And they're supposed to, highlight those or note that on
So that's kind of our
those-
watchdog thing right there.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but
They're
nothing's
supposed to
getting done.
mark that on their, checks, to check those particular lots for construction. And we do that, we email that to them the first of every month.
And evidently, nothing's getting done with it.
Apparently not.
So here, what it amounts to is us giving an employee 4 more hours a week so that we can do another state division's job.
That's right.
It's the same thing with the highway patrol. We got our guys out patrolling the highway. When the highway patrol is supposed to be patrolling the highway, they don't have enough people, or they're too busy watching football games, so we send our deputies out there and we get nothing for them.
The
It's
extra
same
4
thing with-
hours, I
and
thought-
the DOR does the exact same thing.
Right. Yep.
It's state government dropping everything on us. And if we don't go out and generate this income from these houses, we're never gonna see it. Just like this list, we've got houses here for 10 years ago that haven't been assessed a dime. Because the Department of Revenue's not doing their job. And the only way we're gonna get our money is to go out and get it ourselves. We can't sit here on our thumbs and say, well, boy, they're gonna come take care of it. It's gonna be the same thing with this reevaluation. They're gonna sit there and say, oh, yeah, well, maybe they will and maybe they won't. But what are we supposed to do? Sit here, we're gonna sit here in this situation until they decide they're gonna do their job.
so I will move that we increase that employee then the 4 hours from 28 to 32 at the current rate of pay, and split that time between filing for the commission, duties that she currently has with taking minutes for planning and Board of Health, and the rest of the hours for tracking construction, new construction throughout the county, and additions and such.
Is there a second? I'll second. Any more discussion?
I have a question.
So, I do too. So has that been cleared with Janaea to do that? Has she accepted that job? And so in other words, I don't get any additional time from her, is that correct?
As far as the second half of that, I would say that is correct. We need to have a revamping of your department and planning and how the two are gonna work together. As far as the first half, she's already taken minutes for planning, she's already taken minutes for Board of Health on commission hours, so we're not getting our filing hours. So that's already been cleared. As far as driving, looking at the construction, she's done that with you once already regarding the RVs. So it's already something as duties as assigned. As the commission, that is our right to go ahead and increase those hours, and yes, I've talked to Janae about the increase in hours.
But not the duty.
No, but I would be more than happy to do that today. This, of course, came up this weekend.
So what I'm asking is I don't get additional hours then as my assistant for environmental health office.
I would say no, you do not.
Okay.
Alan, did you have something?
Does the county, we have a road department, and so, is there anybody in our county road department, do they drive the roads in Townsend? I mean,
Mostly when they're working on them.
Right?
to where, like, does someone go out, like Dana used to do? He would actually go out in advance of a lot of the times, to see exactly what his crew would need as far as if they needed something. So that, could that person also make a note to whomever it may need to be that, you got a new house going in? I'm just, because it's quite apparent that the state is having a problem with doing its job as far as being efficient and giving correct information to the counties at the county expense when the state is wrong. Maybe contact somebody, never mind.
Ellen, I think you're right on target. The only thing is if you have one person responsible for looking at canister sites, weeds on the road conditions, sprinklers spraying the roads, and then also tracking, new construction additions, that kind of thing, you've got somebody too thinly spread. You're going to be losing details. This is a very small investment in our county that could have a very large return. Blake County, like I said, they had a full-time FTE that did this. I'm not proposing that at all. I'm proposing $3,000 so that we can protect ourselves in the future with what's going on with Department of Revenue. So I appreciate that very much. I just think that you are not going to have as much ability for success if somebody's too thinly spread. So this would be kind of a targeted look, somebody going around and documenting. And unfortunately, septic systems don't tell you that somebody's building or what they're building. Clearly, Department of Revenue isn't getting the reports, or isn't reading the reports, or isn't following through on the reports. We've got 61 or 91 there, and they've got us losing 30. How you put that together, I don't know. So that's what this is about, is just some positive forethought and some, instead of being reactionary, we're being proactive.
Melinda?
Is that also what Nicole does, like if I had a bid to come in and wanna build something, I go to Nicole, is that also, would be part of her job to say, hey, here's somebody that came with me with these and we're gonna do some extra building? I'm just wanting to know, I didn't know exactly what her job is, so that's why I'm asking this, is that part of her job?
No, she doesn't, all that she handled is lot layout and subdivision. She doesn't handle any of the process of building or anything.
So, but when they come in with that lot thing, tell you guys, hey, here is it a possible maybe construction? Would that lead to that with this lot thing?
Well, it could, but we don't know, sometimes it doesn't, just like you go to the silos, somebody puts in a septic, and for 5 years they pull a fifth wheel down there, and all of a sudden they build a house.
Okay.
Well, the septic permit's 5 years old,
Okay,
so you don't know if they've built a house.
okay, thank you.
And they sure not gonna tell you they built a house.
Right, thank you.
We don't have a building inspector or building permits, Melinda, so that's why we have this hole,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, is the $3,000 that's being discussed here for approval to increase these 4 hours, is that just an annual $3,000? Is this a one-time $3,000? Does it cover the full entire fiscal year? Just how far does $3,000 go nowadays, I guess is the question.
That's the whole year.
It would cover the year.
Yeah, we're making a $3,000 investment that could have easily a couple $100,000 return.
Corey?
I have a concern that this is a significant change in duty, and the employee hasn't consented in advance. You can't make the employee do this. My recommendation is put it out for an internal advertisement of 4 hours a week. The other option is we could do a contractor, an independent contractor, particularly because in this case, it would fit that role. You're not fixing their hours or mode of work. They're basically performing a service and get back to you. You can probably do it a lot cheaper.
Mr. Chairman, I disagree entirely. We have 2 hours of work. It doesn't specify what the work is. For this employee, we haven't been getting that because it's been used in other areas of need. We still have the need for filing. An independent contractor is going to be far more expensive to us, and asking an employee to drive the county to track holes in the ground that are houses to be built, or the construction of a house that anyone can see as construction is not a heavy lift. It's not a huge change to a job description. And certainly if she said she didn't want to drive, we could readdress it. But my assumption is, and I'll amend my motion to say upon this employee's approval, but this this is not a heavy lift, this should not be targeted as something that we don't wanna do, and I feel like we're absolutely being nitpicked to death. Every motion, that I make is being, specifically targeted as, you know, let's not do it. This is an investment of $3,000 that could give us a return of hundreds of thousands. It is that simple. So, yeah, and it's, my motion is amended upon the employee's agreement and approval.
Any other discussion? Motion's been made and seconded to approve it 4 more hours for employee to be dedicated to location of new construction within the county. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Same. Motion carries.
And not just to the new construction, because it won't take that much time, but also to just resuming some of the job demands we had when we first set up the position.
Okay, is there any other business to come before the commission?
There
Mr. Chairman, I have a
is.
question. I believe to get that mill levy on the ballot, the commission itself has to now send a resolution to Doug Ellis as the election administrator. And it has to be done by Friday to get his 85-day deadline, I believe. So the time is now, right away.
I think we're gonna sign onto your resolution since it went through our public hearing process. So we're gonna print out a signature page and
Oh, I
sign that
see.
for Doug.
That should suffice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And thank you for your consideration on the air conditioning very much.
thank you for saving lives.
Not me, it's the other board.
Thank you for keeping the building going. Eric Wilkerson, the school superintendent, emailed, and I have his email right here, and he would like Nicole to GPS the bus routes. I told him that I would bring it to the board for vote and approval.
Entertain a motion to have to approve Nicole to help the school plot their bus routes.
So move.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to allow Nicole Brown and planning to help the school plot their bus routes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
I will email him and let him know. The other thing that we have had is, one of our boards has had a couple of questions from a new board member. And we had talked some time ago, I'll give you this, about, the Code of Ethics allows for a $50 gift to be given or to be received. But we had talked about, instead of letting, boards pay their members $50 a year, we would approve a $50 for the whole board event at the end of the year to say thanks. If they wanted to have a pizza party, if they wanted to have donuts, if they wanted to do sandwiches, or if they wanted to do small trinkets, they could do that up to $50 total. So this is addressing that. And then what I did is I pulled from the local government center their board training they did with us, and would like to go ahead and send this, if you guys don't have any edits, to our boards, so that they have kind of a guiding roadmap.
Where's that money?
think that we need to send back to all our boards, right?
Right, yeah, and as well as, the documents that we have, so we have bylaws, we have a copy of the Code of Ethics, we have Robert's Rules of Order, and we also have open meeting laws and rights of participation that would go to them, and then also the process that we follow in appointing board members, which is the first sentence there. So with your approval, I'll go ahead and send that out.
I'm okay with you, all right with that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I don't think we need a vote. Unless you guys want to. I'll just ask the minutes reflect that, so there's no further confusion. And I can't find them, but we talked about, I can give you hard copies. We talked about sharing some truth to, publicly, specifically to Facebook, about some of the facts with the hospital. And if you want, I can run up and grab them, but I put together just some talking points that would be, oh, there you go, from the commission. So what I was envisioning is there's so much misinformation, and, you know, I know that's fun to make that up, but sometimes people are reading things that are misinformation that they are believing because they don't have the counter side of that. And the thing is your opinion is, you're absolutely entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. So what I would like to propose is that the commission as a joint entity, just throw out these canned factual comments, not get into a back and forth on Facebook, because, you know, it's just not appropriate, but certainly to let the folks know that that's not actually the case, this is the case. So what do you guys think?
I would agree with all of
Okay.
If they wanna know, they can surely find out, I don't think we have to.
them. Yes, Alan?
I would say that if you're gonna play the social media, don't get caught up in the drama, because that's that can be a no-win. So, tread lightly. As a
Yeah,
county, as a county entity.
and you know what they say, if you get in the mud and fight with the pig, only the pig enjoys it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks, Ellen. Again, I'm not in any way proposing a back and forth. This is just providing some facts so that people have, and not all at once, just as they're needed.
That's why there's public comment in this meeting. If they wanna find out something, they come and find out. I don't think it's up to us to put stuff out there.
I would move that the commission adopt the talking points as presented to be used just to share facts with folks as needed, not to get into a back and forth.
I'll second that motion. Motion made and seconded to adopt said points of information for the hospital. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
No.
Motion carries.
And I
You want a
appreciate
copy
the
of that,
folks
Ann?
who come to the meetings, but we also have to realize that this is 6,000 people in Broadwater County, and 5,993 are probably working. I know some of our folks in their offices are too busy to be able to be down here. We have some folks that are raising kids, we have teachers teaching school, we have people working, and they can't be here. So the least we can do is try and reach out to them with some facts. So, thanks, Mike. That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else? Did get an email from Aaron,
Yes,
and I think we should get our law enforcement caucus for the union negotiations together and print out exactly what our, I guess, suggestions to the contract are, so we know where we're at next week.
I agree. Is Brandon still here to, could we schedule that now for this week, get it done?
The only time I'm not available is tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. How about Wednesday, our,
Wednesday work for you?
Right.
It's in the morning.
Wednesday morning. That work for you, Brandon, Wednesday morning?
Well, I need like 5 minutes, so
Yeah.
Okay. We've got most of the notes and know exactly where we're at, right? Okay. So Wednesday at, say, 10?
That's fine.
We need to let Mike Evans know, right? And
Yes.
else.
Debbie will need to be at that one, because it'll affect the budget.
Okay. And with that, I guess we will be adjourned 12:28.
Excuse me, Chairman, could I see a copy of your talking points that you were just agreed to send out?
We'll get it to
Have
you
to get
from Ann, you just have the one.
You got the one copy.